How's it going, everyone? I am out here in the front part of my property, and I just noticed that I don't have any purple tree collard inside of my greenhouse. This is a plant that I try to propagate every year, and I have quite a few varieties of these perennial greens. The purple tree collard, the Merritt tree collard. I have the dinosaur tree kale, and also the Truda kale. And I plant these all throughout my landscape, and they make excellent chicken fodder. But on top of that, they all cross-pollinate, and they make some really neat hybrids, some really neat mutations, if I dare say. And so I'll collect the seeds every year and plant those out, and I'll just get hybrids of all the various plants. This one very well could be a hybrid, but it certainly shows traits of the purple tree collard, as you can see with the purple stems and the veining, the purple veining. It's just a really beautiful plant. This one here, all these are the same plant, and it's actually tipped over. This one's been out here a couple years, and so it's since tipped over, and you can see it's starting to run, and so it just does its thing. I allow it to naturally do its thing out here. And so I've got a banana there, another banana off in the distance there. So this is the north part of my house, and it stays pretty shaded here for the most part. Got some honeysuckle vining up against the house, another banana here, and so I just have a whole mess of things. It doesn't look the prettiest right now because it's starting to get cold, but when the spring and summer get here, this is a really pretty section of the house. I've got some really large cardoons here. These things will get 4 or 5 feet wide and tall, just really massive cardoons, and then they just send out all kinds of plants all over the place. Another really kind of a neat thing here, digressing just a bit, is I've planted some pineapple back here a number of years ago. I think that particular one's been there about 3 years, and so it's just a really neat, I think there's another one around here somewhere too. Let's see, oh, here he is right down there. It's just a really neat microclimate. It's right next to my house. It's on the north side, and so it doesn't get scorched over here. I've got some on the south side of my house, and they just didn't make it because it got too hot, and so by my other banana patch on the south side. But these guys have done fine, and so that just goes to show you this is a tropical plant, you know, zone probably 10 plus, and I've got it in zone 9A where it has perennialized right here next to my house. So it's probably in a zone 10 right there next to the house, under the understory of this banana, and it's got some of the dreaded Bermuda grass and honeysuckle and other odds and ends, keeping it nice and warm. So just to kind of show you that you can push the zones. If you can recognize various microclimates, you can make things like that work. But back to the story at hand here. I want to take a few of these guys and propagate them out. And these guys root very readily. Brassicas don't need much help with propagation, and so I don't even use rooting hormone or anything like that. Sometimes I will just propagate these in sand, but they do just fine in soil as well. So I'm just going to take a stem here. I think I'll probably take this guy, and I'm just going to cut it right above a node to where you can branch back out down the road. Come here, Bella. The dog's wandering off over there. Hey, there's Choy over there. Jumping cactus are gonna hurt you. You've already been there, done that. Come on now. So anyways, here's my specimen. And this is a survival crop. This is one, especially if you live in temperate areas, that this will just be very prolific, and it's an excellent source of greens. It's an excellent chicken and animal fodder. But these things will just take off, and they will do well. And pretty much, I'm not sure what the base zone is. I'll put it in the text here, and I'll tell you what zones they go in. But this is one that you definitely want to have in your landscape, and definitely have as part of your food forest. So I'll be right back with you over at my plant station. Okay, welcome back. So I'm over here at my plant station, and I went ahead and just decided to, if I'm gonna do it, I'm just gonna do quite a few of them. I don't want to just do one. And so actually, as I was going about my yard, I noticed that these are actually starting to dwindle just a bit. So the lifespan of these plants is about 3 years, give or take, and they will start dying off. So you do need to continuously keep a seed stock, which I do have plenty of seed, or continue to do cuttings just to keep them going. And so I'm not sure how many of these I propagated last year, but as I was going through, I was really hard pressed to find a true Merritt colored. I did find a hybrid Merritt tree colored, which is a Merritt tree colored that has cross-pollinated with the dinosaur tree kale. And so it is the Merritt colored leaf, but it's got this slight dinosaur kale look to it. So I will have to go through my seeds and just see what I've got for the Merritt tree colored itself, and maybe plant out a few more of those. But I've got a hybrid Merritt tree colored. I've got a true dinosaur tree kale. As you can see, these leaves are certainly the tree kale. And I've got the Trontruda kale, and this is a really big leafed variety of kale. And this is a more warm tolerant variety, so it does the best in my yard. I'm really pushing the zones with these in the opposite direction. I'm almost a little too hot here in the summertime to keep these guys happy. The Trontruda kale does okay, but the purple tree colored and the Merritt tree colored and the tree kale, they really kind of struggle in the summer, and I really have to keep watering them to keep them happy. Except for on the north side of my house where they're in the shade, they do okay there, but I've put them in the hugel beds and on the east and west side of the house, and they really struggle. So you know, it's one of those things where I've really got to kind of baby them, which I really don't like to baby plants at all. And so I've almost thought about maybe stopping with these, but they're just such a great addition into the landscape. They are a great survival crop. They're an edible green. They're a great animal fodder. So I've decided to just go ahead and keep them. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So with any cutting, you just want to go ahead and trim the leaves. I'm going to keep all these leaves and feed them to my goats. So my goats would love to take pleasure in these leaves. So I'm just going to trim them all down until I get to the innermost leaf on this guy. I will just keep a leaf at the very tip. So something like this. If you can see this cutting, this is the Trontruda kale. I've got one leaf at the tip, and this one's ready to go. So we'll do the purple tree colored. I can probably get 2 out of this guy because it's about a foot in length. So I'm aiming for 6 to 10 inches in cuttings. I want, you know, a minimum of 2 nodes below the soil surface. If I could get 3 or 4, that would be optimal. So with this, I'm only going to keep the one leaf at the top, and then I'm just going to cut this guy right here. And so now I've got 2 that are roughly about 6 inches in length. And the tree kale here, I'm just going to, I'll see if I can get 2 cuttings out of this as well. This guy's got a lot of small leaves on him. I could probably just hand pull these. It'd probably be faster that way, but oh well, I'm working. So sometimes you just have to enjoy the moment, right? It's not always about rushing and doing things as quickly as possible, but you've got a lot on your plate. Sometimes that's the best course of action, you know, just try to rush through things and get it done quick. And I'm usually that kind of a person. I like to just get things done quick and move on. And but sometimes you just have to enjoy the moment. So I've got some little buds coming out of this. I don't know if you can really catch those on the video, but I've got some really nice new growth points here. You can see him and one right on the bottom there. So I really want to try to, I'd like to keep those on the tip, but that would make that a really, I might try to do that. I'm just going to cut right above them. And so this will be one cutting here that's going to have a nice tip to it. And it's a little longer, but that's fine. And then this guy's the tip. And so, you know, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm sure it'll still root. It's got a little bit of leaf at the top, so that's nice. And actually looking at it, it does have some new leaf nodes coming out on this guy as well. So I'm sure they very readily root. I would say you've probably got about a 90 to a 95% success rate. So they do root pretty readily. So I'm not worried about the rooting. I just want to make as optimal of a cut as possible is what I'm looking for. So this guy I'm going to have kind of a weird shape. I might lay him in like this. So what I'll do here is I'll probably just cut that and just have a nice little L shape. And that node there will be a rooting point, and I've got another one here that'll be a rooting point. And then this top leaf, since it's kind of large, I'll just cut it back quite a bit. So I'll just do that one and put them in like that. And so that's fine to do. This guy's got a little bit of rot on the stem, if you can see that rot. So I'm just going to bypass that, cut that branch altogether. I could probably cut above it and still make it work, but I've got 6 potters here. So I've got 2, 4, 5, and this will make 6 here. So I'll make 6 cuttings out of these, and then I'll probably need to do another set. I really want to keep these guys, so I'll probably do another Truda Kale and another purple tree colored down the road a little bit. And just I should have really been more on top of these. And there's another smaller one. That guy's probably 4.5 inches, so a little below what I would normally do, but it'll still root. So okay, cleaning up my mess here. I've got 6 cuttings, I've got 6 potters. I've already pre-moistened the soil, so that way it holds the soil together when I make my little entry hole with my China marker. And just like the propagation method, I just put in a hole and I'll stick him down there as deep as I can. I want as many nodes under the soil as possible. And so that guy's good. Pushing them down almost as far as they can go. If you can see, that was a good 5-inch cutting, and I put them all the way down, so just the tip sticking out, and that's fine. That's actually the preferred method. So get them as, you know, with these brassicas, it doesn't matter how deep you get them, the deeper the better. So they can be under the soil and they'll root just fine. So just keep that in mind. I'll probably need to add a little bit of soil in a few of these pots. And just also remember, I forgot to mention, I kept all these cuttings in the same orientation so I know which way is the top. So when you're doing cuttings, just make sure that you know the top from the bottom, so you're not planting them upside down or putting them in upside down. So that's pretty critical. This guy was the L shape. I'm just going to kind of push him down into the soil itself, and then I'm going to cover him, and then I'm going to have to put a little bit more soil into that to fill it up. But that'll be a nice rooting point with that L. Okay. Oh, let's see here. 2, 4. I guess I had one too many cuttings. That's fine. I'll do another one here in a bit. But I got them all the way pushed down, and so if your soil's not all the way up to the top, like this one here, if you can see, I've got about a 2-inch gap there. And you don't want it all the way to the top, so when you water it, you know, the water just runs off. But you want pretty much up to the top, to where maybe there's a 1/2 inch at the top, to where when you water it, the water will stay in the potter and catch the water. But you know, the deeper these cuttings are into the soil, the more rooting nodes there will be, and so you want as many possibilities as possible. So just keep that in mind, that try to get them as far under the soil as possible. Like this guy's got, oh, you know, another 2 inches there, so I definitely want to add some soil, and then I'll just re-wet them. And okay, got a couple more here and we'll be squared away. AJ squared away, like we used to say in the military. All right, one more. And what I'll do with these is I will propagate these out into my landscape. I'll put them all on the north side of my property, where you saw me out there taking the purple tree colored. And I'll get all these out there and then just do some more cross pollinations and try to get some neat new varieties made. So, but these are typically pretty hot selling items, just because the tree kales and the tree collards are not the annuals like the Lasiato kale and just a, you know, a standard Merritt collard or whatever. These are a different breed. They're more unique variety. They're really tall. They can get 6 to 8 feet if you stake them, and they're perennial. So they've got, you know, a lifespan of, you know, 3 years, maybe 5 years tops if they're happy. But they're just a more desirable type. So if you can find the tree kales and the tree collards and the Trontruda kale and just start proliferating them throughout your garden, they make an excellent leafy green, and it's a survival food. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I'm going to go ahead and just re-wet these down and put them in the greenhouse. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me below. And if you like the content of this video and others, please like and subscribe. And I hope you have a great day today, and God bless you. Take care. Bye-bye.